everybody. This is Abdullah Konte and Skylar Nelson of Win Sports, and we're here to talk about just the most latest news from Commanderland. I know Skylar was out practice today. We missed the scrimmage, 2 days ago? But we were both there on Monday, and there's just been a lot of news and a lot of things that have happened in just the last few days that we just kind of want to jump in and discuss. I think the biggest thing is, we obviously heard the news about the practice with the Ravens getting canceled, and I think we have both different perspectives on that. And yeah, maybe let me just talk to you about that, Skylar, like to start off. I mean, what do you think about the fact that they canceled the practice and that we're not going to see them play against the Ravens and do that joint practice anymore? What's your thoughts on that?
Honestly, at first I was kind of like, damn. But at the same time, it was
like, damn.
It would have been exciting to see, but from a football perspective and from a coaching perspective, I realized that it's a good decision, especially since I believe, I gotta fact check this, but I think that the Ravens wanted to have it either earlier in the week or in the middle somewhere. And the Commanders have their preseason game against the Bengals on Monday.
Yeah.
So I think that was, the franchise's concern, and I would have been concerned too, because as the Commanders have, I think, to me personally, and we could talk about this another time, but the Commanders are one of the only teams in the NFL that has a strong veteran presence, but also to a strong rookie presence. And I think with that in mind, you got to take care of those veterans. So I think, can't.
Got a lot of old heads out there, man. The thing is, it's so funny because I think they are one of the oldest teams. And you're right. It's kind of a weird dynamic because they got a lot of young people, not a lot of in the middle, and then they got a lot of old guys. So, they're trying to protect. I mean, and like you said, the game is kind of weird. They have the Monday night, and then they have a Saturday night game.
Yeah.
Or, Saturday morning game. You know what I mean? It's like Saturday at noon. So, it's like the shortest amount of time I think that they could have. So, anyways,
and
continue.
The rest recovery for both teams is pretty important to them. Obviously, it should be important to every team, but I know that the Commanders take that seriously, especially Dan Quinn emphasized that in the beginning of camp. Those veterans, whether they like it or not, they're going to be offered those rest days. And I think, this is just a good decision, for the team to get more acclimated too. So, I think the decision in the end is going to pay off, as much as fans want to see that joint practice, because that's really where the veterans and the first string players will really shine. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we have to consider the long-term outcome from this.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, I think for me, I'm disappointed really just because I wanted to see Lamar out there. And I think we're probably not going to see the starters in that game. I think we're probably going to see them in the Cincy game, and then they'll rest all the starters for the last game. So that was kind of the only other time you were going to be able to see real competition between the starters and somebody else. And, the Ravens got probably the second best roster in the league. I think the only other roster that would be better than theirs is Philly. And, I got jealous reasons because I just wanted to see Lamar and Jaden. I mean, you can see them both at the same time. It's great. And then, they got so many talented players on that team that, from a photography perspective and just from an analyst and watching good football, I wanted to see it. And, there's something I think fun about, I guess, maybe I haven't been able to see a joint practice yet. We've heard about them, but I think I wanted to see a joint practice mainly because it seems like it's just there's a little bit of nuance to it because it's not open to the public. So I think that would have been kind of fun to see. But I think, like you said, it made sense that they decided to go a different way with this. It's just not a lot of time. And, I do forget about the fact that they got a lot of old guys that get rest days already. You're trying to get them to, play a game on Monday night. By the time they're getting back to getting ready for another, game, you're basically saying that you want them to play another game, 4 days from there, because that's basically what these joint practices are. There's glorified kind of scrimmages. I guess technically they don't tackle, so there is that less of concern. But at the same time, like I can understand that. So as an older
But
person myself, look, my bones don't work the same. So like I'm not really trying to, if I did a hard workout on Monday night, I don't know if I'm going to be wanting to do it again on Thursday morning.
oh my
So
gosh. Plus two, on top of that, I've always been like this with the Ravens and the Commanders. Both teams are so competitive. So
yeah.
just imagine the fire and Ashburn.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that like when I don't know if you remember last year's game,
Yeah, I
like
do.
even there was like tension in the media room because like I remember they were like, look at these people from DC, and look, like I've told you before, like I've been living here for like 12 years, but I'm not from DC. So, I'm still learning about all the rivalries and all that kind of vibes. And it was interesting. I left there being like, yo, I don't know if I like B more people because they don't mess with us.
Hey, not
You know what I'm saying? And I know, look, for those who don't know, Skylar's from B more. So, you know what I mean? Like she's taking a little offense to that, but like I swear I left there kind of being like, yo, what's up with these B more heads, man? Like what's going on? So, yeah, I just think it would have been fun. So like the funness of it, I think is something that's lacking, but I think like from a coach's perspective, I think it makes sense. And so, it's disappointing just for people who just wanted to see it. But at the end of the day, man, I'd rather see this team healthy week one. So, if that means less contact, less chances of people being tired or hurt, and, with an older team, like you said, like, let's get these guys ready for week one and move from there. They're not losing a bunch from not doing this joint practice. So,
Yeah. And plus, too, we already have injuries. Like, we have Noah Brown, Coleman.
Yeah.
Marcus Mariota hasn't been reported.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been some talks on him.
Well, that's
practice today.
that's a great segue. Like, I mean, it's been kind of weird, right? Like with the injury situation, I feel like they've been kind of quiet. We don't really know who's injured and who's not and what the severity is. Like, I feel like there used to be like legit reporting on it, and they're just pretty good at not giving us much. But like a person like you said, like Mariota was out there today. So, like, what did you see him do a lot? Did you see him throw a lot? Like, I mean, didn't see him do much?
No, like he came, I would say, around when team drill started. And at first, we were all standing like, is that Mariota? Because he was kind of far from where we were. But he had came in, he was just watching. And then towards the end, the quarterbacks had stayed after practice to get in some extra work, like some extra throw reps in. And he had went for that, but he wasn't really throwing much. Like he was, communicating with Sam. He was communicating with Josh. He had some interactions with Jaden, but it wasn't like, like he came to practice. And I think that says a lot. I mean, honestly, to be real, they're going to need Mariota, especially since after the preseason performance. No offense, but at the same time,
the other two guys have not played super well. Like, I mean, they've been okay, and I like Sam, I like Josh Johnson, but
I like Sam too.
I think when you're thinking about who could come in and win a game for you if Jaden gets hurt, I don't know if you feel a lot of confidence with those two other guys. You do feel confidence with Mariota. We've seen him come in. He won that Tennessee game last year. He won that Dallas game last year. Like, he has a lot of experience. So, it is a little concerning when you think about it because your backup quarterback is needed, especially when, let's be real, Jaden's a little frail. Sorry, getting the name wrong. Jaden's a little frail. You know what I mean? So, like, we're all very hopeful that he just doesn't get hurt and learns how to like take hits like Lamar does. Lamar is really good at running and taking hits and getting down and stuff like that. So we hope he learns more and more of that. But yeah, I mean, your depth matters, and I'll be honest, like there have been like certain people like him and Noah Brown have been the two that I'm kind of like, what's going on with them, right? Because they keep kind of underselling and being like, oh, it's no big deal, it's no big deal. But we really just haven't seen them do a whole lot. So, as much as like I think they'll be fine at the end of the day, we really haven't seen Mariota much. And Noah Brown has been like here practice, gone for two, here practice, gone for two. Like, I don't know. I mean, they've just been a little interesting with the injuries kind of thing. Like, just what is going on there. They're not giving us a whole lot. I don't know if it's something to be concerned about. Even like Jordan McGee, like how severe is Jordan McGee's injury? Yes. We're hearing rumblings from other, I listened to different podcasts yesterday, and it's like, everybody has their difference of opinion. So, yeah, I mean, it is kind of like, I don't know. I don't know what's happening. But at the end of the day, like, as long as everybody's good when it comes to week one, great. But it is something to monitor. They've been kind of interesting with the delivery of injuries overall.
Yeah.
So.
Noah's been the most interesting for me too because, to be honest, like it's not something that was generally like obviously we all heard the screams in minicamp, and then he had came back. We saw him training on social media. He was in practice a couple times. He was running. He was catching the ball, but also too there are a lot of practices that he missed, and that's kind of concerning too, especially since there is an injury kind of like report timeline on ESPN, and he's not on there. It's kind of like, how serious is it?
It's weird because I wasn't there for that knee injury or that scare when he screamed at practice. That was one of the days I wasn't there. But everybody I talked to was like, yo, it was loud. And it was like, I don't know. We were concerned. Like, the people I talked to were all like, he might be gone for the year, right? But then we didn't hear anything. And it was kind of like, okay, well, if we're not hearing anything, that probably means that he's not done for the year. And then seeing him dress out a few times, like, it gives us hope that he's going to play this year, but it's like, what is the injury? And is it severe enough that he's going to miss week 1 or week 2, or is he going to play? Like, we don't know. It's just weird. Like, I would just say it's just a weird situation, but, they don't owe us. I don't think they owe us yet. Like, I think during the season they have to do the injury report every week. I don't think they have to do it yet. So they technically don't owe us to know anything at this moment, but it's just weird. You know what I mean? I just think, like, people... I was thinking if somebody asked me what's the severity of these injuries, I'd be like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I feel like we'd be bad, analysts or whatever. But at the same time, I don't think a lot of people know. So, but anyways, tell me what you saw. I mean, how was practice today? I mean, obviously I wasn't there today, but I was curious of, like, was it anything special? They were in the bubble, so was it a hard practice? Was there anything that came out? Anybody who stood out really?
Yeah, so honestly, they did a lot of special teams work in practice. I thought that was really like a precedent, and I think they did it more than usual. And I think, that kind of sets the bar on like what they're focusing on. And I'm actually glad that they are kind of trying to reassure that side of the ball because
they need to.
They're going to have to.
They need to. Yeah.
One thing definitely that I noticed too, and that I love to see, is Jeremy Reeves. His communication on special teams is top tier.
He's just, when we talk about underrated people, I think we got to bring him to the fold because, look, when the special team's bad, it's very noticeable. I don't think we recognize this when it's good. And he's made so many plays throughout this is going to be my 5th season covering. Throughout the 5 years I've been here, I mean, he's been the most reliable special teams player. That's why they call him All-Pro Revo for the year that he went All-Pro as a special teamer. And then, the fact that they're even giving him opportunities, it looks like he might play first-team reps on defense as well a little bit, or at least get in the game on defense a little bit, is great. I'm just glad to see, him getting his flowers. And so, I mean, it's good to hear that they're practicing and working on special teams kind of stuff, because the fact of the matter is it's the part, I think, out of everything that probably needs a little bit more work. And I hope we see a little bit more adjustment on that come Monday. So. Yeah.
And I love Commanders fans, but y'all gotta calm down for me because I get it. Look, I get it. It was a 57-yard kick that Mac missed. I get it. That was one kick in a crucial moment of the game. Okay, that was supposed to put the first set of points up on the board for Washington. However, Matt actually made all his kicks in practice today. Not to say that that's like, oh my gosh, okay, we're back. But at the same time, one thing I've definitely noticed about the Commanders too, and maybe they're still considering this, is a lot of the players, most players, I'll say this, most players do well when there's competition. We've seen that in the wide receiver room. We've seen that in the running back room. We still don't know if they're going to bring in some competition for Matt, but I mean, it's not impossible. But at the same time, I think they're trying right now, based on what it looks like, they're trying to do well with what they have. And I can appreciate them for trying. Now, the season, and it's like, oh my gosh, okay, he's missing kicks left and right. Then it's like, okay.
People just have to have patience, you're basically saying. And look, I think Look, I got the Commanders fans mad at me yesterday for my comments about the Terry thing. And it's like, yeah, like, it's just funny because I got frustrated because they're frustrated. And I'm like, why are we even frustrated? The season hasn't started. Like, let's just watch
They
some
love
football.
Terry.
Yeah, and the thing is, they're passionate, man. Like, I mean, I respect passionate fans, but I do think it's like, yo, let's take a chill pill. Let's see how they do with one game. We don't know. Like I said after our, review podcast or whatever, it was just that it could have been that they just had one bad game. They look flustered. They look kind of nervous and flustered. It could just have been one bad day. Let's see if it's consistent. That's when it becomes a problem. So, trust me, I get the heat that Commanders fans bring, but at the end of the day, man, like, just let these guys work and see if they improve. They brought Matt Gay here for a reason, so let's see it out. If he continues to not play so well, they'll make a change. I think that's one thing, and that might lead us to the next segue of the changes that they've been making, but they are willing to make changes when they need to, right? They are, I think that even with the comments that I made about, Terry and, what they want to pay him and all that stuff, I think it was not a slight at AP and the organization because they're doing their due diligence. I respect that. And I think that, like, if you want to be a really strong organization, like, you do have to really vet how much you pay somebody. You do have to really vet, like, what guys you bring in. And you really got to vet the guys like Dominique Hampton. If he's not performing, we got to cut him loose. And so if Matt Gay becomes that, if, some more of these special team players become that, they'll make those decisions. I think that I do, as just a person watching the squad, we see people like Cleveland Browns who have signed 6 quarterbacks and they don't know what they're doing. Like, this organization at least gives life to the fans that, they know what they're doing. So I would say that's what you're talking about. Let them just temper your frustrations and let's see another week. You know what I mean? Let's see what they do. This team went to the NFC Championship game last year, and it wasn't like a fluke to me. I think that there was a lot of reasons for that. They made great decisions last year. They had great play last year. So, let's see what they can do. You know what I mean?
And I gotta honestly, like, despite everything, I love Terry. But you got to give props to Adam Peters because this is something that is not only very serious, but in my opinion, in my lifetime, I've never seen a general manager move so strategically like this.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, it's been night and day. It's been 1 year, and the way that this team operates versus what it was before, and like I said, I came into this organization, kind of like, what's going on? And all the people would tell me all these stories about how bad this team has been run. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like, I was learning a lot. I was always a fan of football. I was always a fan of all these different teams, like, following from afar. But when you're here and you're in these rooms where people were there when some of these bad decisions were being made, it makes you respect the people who are doing such a good job off rip. And, like, as you can see, everything that they've done has been really great. So, yeah, I mean, I'm glad we talked a little bit about Terry because, when it comes to my comments about, I think it should matter what you've done, it doesn't mean that I'm saying that, like, them trying to evaluate what he can do isn't the most important thing. It's just more of like, all of it needs to be considered with evaluation. And I think they shouldn't overpay him. They really should not overpay him. I just think everybody should get paid appropriately, right? So I'm kind of right in the middle, and I just hope that they find that.
I really get that. And to be on, like, not to talk about Terry too much because I know the situation is still lingering. You also have to consider the long-term effects that this can have on the franchise. Like, they still got to pay Jaden.
They do,
They have all of these rookies.
Yeah,
they have well, to be honest. And it's like, we're going to have to pay them too. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, they're the future of the franchise. But at the same time, this is what our future is.
No, they have a salary cap. They can't just pay anybody anything. And, like, the thing is that the biggest problem here is that the DK deal is too expensive, and they overpaid DK, and that's what's screwing this situation
And
up.
DK
And
is
so
not even better than Terry.
I don't think he is. I wouldn't take, and I'm not saying I really like DK. Also, I really do. I wouldn't take DK over Terry. And the biggest thing, and this is where I talk about the past and like what he's done matters, because DK. If you were to switch DK with Terry right now, the team dynamic would be different because Terry means so much to this team when it comes to his leadership and what he's done for this team already. And I think that holds some water and some value. And I think that's where, I'm not saying you pay him 33 or even 30. I would probably stick at the 28 that they were talking about. That's the thing. I actually feel like that's a good number. Basically, I just feel like, you do have to pull the fact that he's a great leader and great for the organization already, and he's somebody who represents his organization well, that when new players come, not just his play on the field, but his attitude is going to matter to build this team consistently. So, you're right. He does have a job to do, and it's hard because you overpay Terry, then when another player becomes available and you want to go sign him, you won't be able to because you spent all your money. So, it's a tough job. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And plus, too, not to cut you off.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I think one of the biggest holdups, even outside of just the numbers of the overall contract, guarantees are also speaking a lot for him, too.
Yeah, no, it is. And this is where, as much as people want to just throw a number out there, there's so much nuance to the contracts that I don't even understand them thoroughly enough for me to be like, oh, this should be this, and this. Like, I'm still learning these contracts overall. So we just don't know, man. Like, there's just so much that goes into it. I think we're all just kind of like, can you guys please get it done? Because we just want, the match made in heaven feelings, and everybody's just happy to get the season started. The season ended with such a high last year that we just want to get to this season starting off right. And they need Terry, and Terry needs them. That's just what it is.
And the graphic that they posted in the beginning of the year, right when they had signed Debo, it was Terry on the graphic.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, they need Terry. Terry's a big part of this team. But like, if he's asking for some astronomical number, I agree. They should do their due diligence and not just pay him just because it's Terry. Like, I think that's where I hope people understand what I mean by that. So. But yeah, anyways, look, the last thing I think I wanted to talk about is mainly just if you had any comments about these new players that they brought in. They signed Daryl Worley and River Craycraft, and they let go of Strachan. I still don't know how to say the man's name. You know what I mean? So forgive me. I liked his size, so I'm a little disappointed that they dropped him because of that. But outside of that, did you feel like it was anything worth talking about, or do you feel like, does it say anything more about the team? I'll do a deep dive more on these players overall and like what they bring athletically, but like, do these moves move you in any kind of way, or is it just kind of like, hey, they're just trying some new stuff out?
Yeah, to be honest, it did kind of suck to see Strahan kind of go because, like I said to you, like how we talked about, like, just like too, we said this about Chris Moore, like that body strength that he
does have he has the athletic, he has that size, and that's, they don't have like a big, tall receiver. That's one of the things they're lacking. I mean, Noah Brown's probably their tallest one, but with him not being out there, don't have anybody else.
Yeah, and the thing is though, but he dropped too many passes in practice.
Yeah. Like, I think, go ahead.
To be honest, like, see, this is where I go back to the Adam Peters point. Like, don't waste any time with these players. I get it. It does seem harsh because people weren't expecting him to even cut Hampton so quickly. But at the same time, you got to do what you need to do.
Yeah.
You got to get back into that playoff year next year.
Yeah, it's not easy, but it's respected, man. Like, like they said, Dan Quinn said it about Hampton. Like, look, we just knew it wasn't working here, so like, let's give him an opportunity to go find it somewhere else. And like, that's how I would feel if I was if somebody had me employed and they were like, yo, he's just not cutting it, or he's just not a match or a fit for what we're doing. Like, I would want them to be like, yo, like, you got to kind of try somewhere else. And so, I think we always wish anybody who gets cut the best, but I think that, like, based off what you were saying is that I don't think we were surprised by the move, and it wasn't because he wasn't like a good player. It's just we didn't see enough plays being made. And like, let's be real, there's only 6 spots, and to be honest, it seems like 5 of them are locked already. When you think about it, it's Terry if he gets signed, it's Noah Brown, it's Debo, it's Luke McCaffrey, considering he was a 3rd rounder last year, and it's Jalen Lane who's a 4th rounder this year. So like, that's 5 receivers that are pretty much locked in. It would have to be that they just continuously had a ridiculously horrible camp that they would consider letting him go or trading him or something. So there's really that sixth spot. And I mean, if you really think about it, Ja'Cory Brooks, Michael Gallup, even Chris Moore, they're all ahead of him. So, like, it's interesting that they're bringing Craig Kraft because I'm like, is he going to be able to make a run this late in the training camp to, like, supersede one of those guys? I mean, people remember him from last year. He had a really nice catch against Benjamin St. Juste for a touchdown. So, like, is he worthy enough to, like, make a leap over all those other guys that we just named?
I mean, he's played on experienced teams. Like, you're talking, like, 3 years in Denver, 2 years in San Francisco. I mean, and he recently spent, I think, the offseason with the Seattle Seahawks. So, you know, I think he has some experience. You know, you're talking 9 seasons in the NFL. You know, he appeared in 53 games. He's had 32 career receptions for 374 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, the stats are there. I think the consistency, you know, here in Washington is going to be the test for him. But, you know, he's 30. So that's another thing. And, you know, we are known for signing those older guys.
Yeah, no, you know, we like the old heads over here, you know. Like, clearly they like the old heads. Like, I mean, as much as, like, you know, we're talking about Terry's age, they've definitely, they enjoy bringing experienced players. But, So, look, I mean, I think we'll see what happens with these guys. I mean, we didn't talk much about Daryl Worley, but it's kind of the same thing. It's like, I don't know if we are expecting a bunch from these guys, but it's just moves are being made. And I think what we can say from these is just that, you know, moves are being made. They are continuously adjusting the roster, and I respect that. People make fun of me because I play fantasy football. In my team, I'm always just dropping like my 5th player, and they're like, "Why do you even care?" It's like, yo, I'm trying to make my team the best, right? So I think that that's where, you know, I respect what they are doing is that, like, they literally are watching every single player, and they're not just focused on the starters. They're focused on anybody who's going to help this team better at the end of the day. So, go ahead.
I need this question answered because this is kind of a little extreme. Is there a fantasy football, like, the draft is real, right?
What do you mean by the draft is real? What is that? I don't know what that question actually means.
Because I saw this TikTok and it was like this girl and like these groups of guys and they were heading to this stadium. I forgot which NFL stadium it was, and there was this big trophy that they spent money on, and it's like they had like a whole draft ceremony.
Yeah, those are just guys who took it very seriously. Like, I mean, like when I do my draft, I'm gonna be sitting by my computer while I'm FaceTiming all my friends, right? Like that. Some people take it really serious. Some people make it a whole ordeal, and they'll have a party and all that kind of stuff. I mean, these guys obviously went all out, you know, from based off the video that you watch. But is it real? Yeah, everybody's draft is technically real, but it's not like you have to go somewhere and do it in person. Like, not everybody has to do that.
Okay, I was starting to think, I was a little concerned. I get it. Fantasy football, like, I have so many family members.
Have you played before?
No. Because, like, I just don't have the time to be sitting there, like, trying to put my team together.
Yeah.
I gotta focus on real football.
We might have to do a Win Sports fantasy football league or something, because it is fun. I love it. I mean, I get it, though. It is kind of like an extra job. And if you're really busy, I know both of us have multiple jobs, so if you're really busy, I mean, it could just be a lot. But
shame to the people that do it.
No, of course. No, some people are like in like 10 different leagues. I don't know how. I'm only in one. I can just do one. That's it. I can't do more than that. But I'm glad we could get a little fantasy football education on this, video. So
I'm like, no way. People go to a draft for an online league. There's no way.
I'm telling you, you'd be surprised the people who really take this thing hella seriously, right? So yeah, no, I'm a nerd. Everybody knows I'm a nerd. There's different layers of nerd stuff. I'm glad I'm like at a normal layer when it comes to fantasy football. So Okay, well, basically, we wanted to wrap this video up, just talking about kind of the moves. Skylar did talk to a few players, so we'll make sure to kind of maybe drop that at the end of this video.
It's competition, but like I said, like we compete with ourselves, right? Yeah. We don't have to go anywhere else to compete. We have that competition with ourselves, because that's the standard in the room and in the building. So, going to Baltimore, going to wherever, right? Yeah. Like at the end of the day, when we touch the grass, like, you're here to compete. You're here to get better. You're here to make your brother better. So at the end of the day, right, like any chance that we get out here, you blessed enough to touch the grass, like you got to take that rep as it might be your last. So it's just competition. That's the word here.
It's just getting game reps, essentially. And it's, nothing's getting too carried away. You get an opportunity to hit someone in a different jersey. And, it does something for your mental, it makes it feel a little more real. So, it's the closest thing to game reps we can get without, getting out there.
But just we wanted to say thank you guys for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, drop any questions you may have. We'll probably do one more video before the before the Monday preseason game, just to kind of talk about expectations, stuff like that. So if you have any questions, we'll maybe answer those on the next one.
Yes.
Anyways, yeah. Anything you want to say before we go?
Monday Night Football on.
Let's go. Monday Night Football. All right, peace, everybody.